Ooh, it's a gigantic one, because it's a package from China and we're going to have a lot of fun. Let's go. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's awesome that you're tuning in. So in this video, we are going to take a close look at another weird device that I picked up from AliExpress. This thing is called the Laptop Arcade Player. 7-inch TFT, 100 plus built-in games. The device itself comes with more than 100 built-in games, but already can see from the picture that we're going to get not a typical 90 games that you have seen before with different arcade models. But I must say that there is an option to add new games that I've been messing around with. But I am very excited to show you this here on the channel and just do this unboxing together with you, because I'm always excited to see what are we going to get, especially these mini ones that you can collect and play on. But it has been a very long time that I even review one of those things, simply because they didn't release a lot of new mini arcade machines. I think the jungle was quite big enough and they didn't want to make new ones, but this new tabletop edition, or they called it a laptop arcade player, I find it still a very strange name. I find the model very intriguing, and that's the reason I just needed to pick it up. Not only for the collection, getting these things out of the box is like a freaking nightmare, and plastic fantastic. But the first impression is that they are giving us, let's say, a full plastic fantastic 7-inch awesome piece of a mini arcade. It's still going to get ourselves the analog joystick, like the wiggle stick. I'm not a big fan of those things, but okay, that is something we just need to live with. Inside we're going to get the toilet paper manual like always, because yeah, look at this. That's not really something like a user manual. Like, what do you need to do with that? It comes with the cable for charging it. But also later on, we're going to do and see, let's just look up what we can do when it comes to emulation, and can we play some naughty games on it. I have been waiting to make this video for a very long time, and the main reason is I just wanted to be messing around with it a lot. But where the previous models were, let's say, especially focused on emulation, this system comes with their own unique games, including some shmups but also some beat 'em ups. Games like Steam Gear or Furified are one of those games that we'll be including in this cabinet. But let's boot it up and let's see what we're going to get. But let's take a close look at the front panel. So we're going to just getting the old school membrane buttons. There's nothing really arcade about it. The same goes for the analog stick. It's like an analog stick. It's great on a controller, but for an arcade stick like this, I'm not the biggest fan. The volume control, we're going to get these cheap clickish buttons. Here we're going to get select, start, and the back button. At the back we're going to get ourselves the on and off switch, the micro USB 5V in. There is no charger, so you need to get yourself one of those separately. And we're going to get here the headphone jack out, and we're going to get an TF slot because it is possible to add games. Like the box already mentioned, it's a 7-inch TFT panel. This is not an IPS. In other words, the viewing angle is not great. So the system itself is running on a kind of a weird Android edition, but let's take a close look at that. So the loading times are quite long, as you can see over here. I booted up, started making this part of the video, but the loading time takes quite long. Okay, so at the front we're going to get more like this bezel. I personally really like it, but it's kind of glossy. And yeah, in combination with the viewing angle here, you can see I need to put the camera in the perfect position, otherwise we're going to get not a very good result when it comes to recording. There is no touchscreen, so you're going to need to use this freaking joystick. You can see the volume control seems to be working just fine. It goes basically with step by step when you're pressing it once, or you can hold the freaking button. Okay, so I adjusted the camera simply because we're going to get a better result with recording. So here we're going to get the main menu. It's kind of a weird looking Android. I think they're using Android, a very old one, but they're just basically getting an interface. Here we're going to get Furified, Rapture Void, Fighting Masters, Steam Gear, and we're having all kinds of weird games. So here we're going to get the more games and the arcade emulator. So like I say, the more games, it's more games like the weird 16-bit-ish flash game stuff. So if this thing comes with 100 games, it's kind of weird because I don't see them. Let's take a close look at the arcade emulator. Here you can see we're going to get the option to add a TF card. So there is no TF card inside. I did messing around with it, but it's something we're going to dedicate a different video on, simply because it's going to be a lot of mumbo jumbo getting this thing to work. And the question remains, what can we play then? Okay, so let's take a close look at the settings. We can open it up. Here we can change some things like language, the screen brightness. This thing goes super bright. So let's put it on the brightest, simply because it's better for recording. We're having here the sleep mode. you can put it in like in a couple of minutes, stuff like that. Here you can see like a couple of seconds. If you don't want to use it, I put it on never. And then we're going to get the theme. I'm going to use the black theme because I think it's better for your eyes. So this is what we're going to get with the main menu. There's nothing much to see, so let's try some games and let's see how good or how bad these things are. Starting with Fighting Fury or Fury Fighting. Yeah, whatever. I'm just going to be honest, I don't know if you can download this from the Play Store or the Apple Store. So the music itself sounds kind of cool. And the internal speaker that is on the bottom goes quite loud. But don't crank it all the way up to 100% because you're going to get like this cracking noise. There's quite a lot of bass in it. Alright, new game. Let's put them easy mode. It even has like a save function. Yep, start new game. You can choose between 3 different characters. I must say that I really love how this looks, how it sounds. So that's pretty cool. The loading times are quite fast. But what I like about this cabinet in general is like it comes with something unique. Or it comes not like with your typical emulation stuff that you have seen before. Okay, so let's take a close look at this all. Going to get an introduction of the game itself and everything that's going on in it. Okay, so let's take a close look at the first game. And this absolutely looks like a Flash game. So the analog stick does have a minor, let's say, dead zone, but it is quite responsive. But I've been playing this game for some time and I must say that it's quite a lot of fun to play. It's like a basic beat 'em up game, nothing really fancy. Does get some special moves like this. I love the screaming sound. Whoa, whoa. Such a weird thing. But when you're looking at this, it's a quite interesting game to play and I think it's a lot of fun. So far I know it's only 1 player and because you have no idea like if you can attach any extra controllers, that would be cool. There's also no TV out, so this thing will dedicate like a mini arcade itself. Okay, so next up, let's try Rapture Void. It's a fighting game. I must say I like how everything looks. Well, let's take a close look at the gameplay. So the loading times are quite long, I think, for this type of game systems. Some game will have like a couple of seconds, but some will have like a very long time. It would be cool to have some Mugen on this thing. But yeah, then we're still having an issue with the wiggle stick. Loading times, we're back in the freaking 90s. Loading times, it's freaking awful, all this thing. Loading times are a pain in the ass. Oh, there it is.
Round 1.
Ready, fight!
Okay, so when playing this game, it's like actually like playing a game with 30 FPS or something like that. I don't know if this game is actually kind of good because this is like... And having a wiggle stick doesn't help the fact that we cannot do any moves or barely any moves. It's by the way the first time I ever played, but... So the animation itself are quite funny, to be honest, but if this is actually a good fighting game, I think not. Okay, so the next game I wanted to try out is the Steam Gear. And like when I'm looking at Steam Gear, the first thing that comes in mind is freaking Metal Slug. Okay, so they didn't rip off the music or something like that. But let's see if it's actually like a good game. So we're having a story, tutorial, stuff like that. But it's absolutely nothing to do with Metal Slug. This is just a shooter. Okay. The only thing I can do is use my grappling hook and shoot. But the shooting is just a freaking nightmare if you think about it. Like, you move and you give the direction to your gun at one joystick. So that makes this game, in my opinion, quite difficult to play. But Fighting Master Ultimate. So we can just choose fight or... Oh, I need to press start. But this game looks pretty damn good. Let's choose the rip-off Ken or Ryu. Okay, so that fight was absolutely ripped from Street Fighter. Whoa, this is not a Street Fighter clone. I'm now playing again. Yep, I'm playing against a rip-off Sagat and a rip-off Ryu. Okay, so the first thing I'm noticing is like, I did have the option to do some moves. So the analog stick mini arcade is not super bad. Let me guess. So I was having this move. Let's see if I can do another one. Yep. Absolutely, they ripped off Street Fighter in every single way. Well, in combination with the analog stick again, it doesn't play that bad. They did configure every button like it should be, in my opinion. Here are the buttons for the punching, and they put it like low, medium, high. Don't know if I can basically like configure anything, like push inputs. No, I don't think you can do basically like it shows like what you can do. We're going to get in the list. That's pretty damn cool. Okay, so next up I just wanted to highlight, let's say, the most important games. And this is one of them. Like, this is quite interesting. This is a racing game. Looks kind of funny. Loading times of some of the games are faster than the other one. That is something I've noticed. Let's see how the racing game actually works. It's a three-dimensional racing game. So it's pretty damn awesome. It comes also with some challenges, and if you want to play them and upgrade your car and stuff like that, it's all possible. Just your typical racing game, nothing really fancy. You can see like we're having the upgrades where you can shoot it at your opponents. The controls are kind of weird of the game, but they play actually good with the analog stick. Let's see if I can find the freaking button. Oh, you just basically tap the acceleration button to activate your power up. Yeah, that's kind of weird configuration of buttons, but okay. Alright, so let's remove the rubber feet and let's take a close look in the inside, because this thing runs on Android, but I'm really curious what it is. So I couldn't get in the main Android firmware, like everything has been locked out. Maybe in the future people will figure out how to get into it, because it would be cool to basically mess around with this device and maybe add some emulators yourself, because that would be very cool. But the question remains, what are the specs? There's nothing inside of the manual or whatsoever about the battery, so let's take a close look in the inside. Ooh, bumping my camera. Alright, so I've removed all of the freaking Parkers. Let's see if we can do a teardown now, or if something have been glued together or whatsoever. So the first thing I'm noticing, there is not really a notch or something that I can grab to do this teardown. Let's put my screwdriver in and let's see if I can get it out like that. Yep, there it is. Okay. I need to be very gentle. It looks like there is something underneath. Oh, there's not a lot of... Oh, no. There is not a lot of space over here. So the first thing that we're going to do, we're going to remove the speaker itself. Doing it out of camera. And the lithium battery that is inside. Alright. Don't want to, like, rip and tear. So okay, so here we're going to get ourselves the battery inside. It is a 4000 milliamp, and what I love about these things, like, you can always replace them if you're going to get some problems with it. So something I noticed is like, this is just a basic model you can maybe pick up. They did some extension over here, and here we're going to get the speaker. And funny thing is, like, both of these will give a lot of weight to the freaking mini PC. So let's get myself a tiny Phillips screwdriver and let's see how the speaker looks, because it's quite interesting to put this thing in the box itself. Wicked really loves to do his teardowns, like just to see what is inside. This construction is quite interesting because I'd never personally seen it before. Normally they just like slap the freaking speaker on the piece of plastic, put some hot glue and some screws in its freaking place and just go and just be done with it. But this time we're going to get ourselves a quite interesting construction. Alright, so let's open this bad boy up. Let's see. Holy crap. So that explains why this thing had quite a lot of bass. I think if you're going to be having a better amplifier, you're going to get even a better sound. I don't know if you can remove it like this. No, it's stuck in here. I'm just going to leave it in here and let's see what we're going to get. It's a 4 ohm, 3 watt speaker. But look at this freaking magnet and on this tiny speaker. So that is quite nice. Let's put it back together, by the way. Alright, so this is what we're going to get in the inside. So it's clear to see that we're going to get a PCB over here. There's one for all the inputs and outputs, for example the audio out and the input for the power. Here we're going to get the mainboard itself, and at the front we're already noticing a quality issue because they forgot to put a screw back in. So that's something we're going to do now. Didn't hear it in the inside, but it's a little bit of a bummer. They just forget it, and the main problem will be maybe that we're going to get some problems with the freaking PCB over here. So the something I'm going to put in later on, but here you can see everything has been connected with these cables. So let's take a close look at the mainboard. Let's see if I can rip it off. Yep, I can. They're just using these weird, let's see, weird glue cooler paste stuff. Let's remove this one too, and let's clean it up. And let's take a close look at this tiny mainboard. I almost want to say that this thing is like an old school Android box they slapped inside this device, but that's not clearly the case, simply because of the connections, of course. But they're using this old school L-Winner A32E chip. I don't know if you can read it. I did try to clean it up, but it's also like very strangely like put on the chip itself. Then here you're going to get yourself the flash chip for the memory, and what I understand of this here are the 4 RAM chips. But the RAM chip, I couldn't like find any information how much it is, but I'm guessing it would be around 2 gigabytes or something like that, or maybe 4. But most of the time they're using old school tech like the All-Winner. So it's going to be not really fancy. There is some modification on the mainboard itself. Don't know why this is, but here we're going to get this red wire has been soldered into this position here, all the way going over there. And yeah, there's a ribbon cable goes to the on and off switch, or the PCB here at the top. And then we're going to get a cable that I already pulled off, but this basically belongs in here. So when it comes to the specification, it's nothing really fancy, but that was something I would not expect for a very cheap device like this. But basically they're also using like cheap old school Android boxes and stuff like that. So this mini arcade machine is, in my opinion, something totally new, especially when it comes to the games itself. We're not paying a lot of money for a device like this, but I read to see an IPS at least when it comes to new models nowadays. I personally prefer a real micro switch joystick. The analog stick does play very nice, and in combination with some of the games like the Street Fighter knockoff, I can do some moves. In my opinion, that is quite interesting. I don't know who do you want to market this for. When you're looking at the different models in the past, think about a Powkiddy or another brand. They clearly want to like build themselves like this emulation box inside an arcade machine. But with this, they don't market it like this. It's just, let's say, it comes with 100 games that, in my opinion, kind of a lie, because I couldn't like really find one of them. The games that were on it are okay, like not the best games that I've ever seen before. The build quality is pretty damn nice. It's fully made out of plastic. The only downside I find with the speakers, if you're going to put it like this, it basically dampens the speaker a little bit, so you can put it on very high volume. You can see feels of vibration, but in the end, like, it's a little bit of a bad placement. They would like consider putting the speaker here at the back to give him better audio quality, or make something that you're having like at the front, so basically the audio itself is towards you and you have like a better quality audio experience. But let me know in the comments, what do you think of this mini arcade machine? Is it something you're worth thinking of picking up just for fun, for the novelty, for playing these weird Android games? Yeah, thanks for watching. Consider subscribing, hit that little bell, become one of the Wicked family. And again, let me know in the comments, what do you think of this? And it would be great to see you in the next video.